Today I'm going to show you how to clean up your rusty baits that you left in your wading box or anything else that's in your tackle box that's rusted up. And a lot of times people think, man, this is garbage. It's all rusted. But I might as well just go get a new one for, like $15. Go buy me a new custom painted fishing lure. That's exciting. That's fun. It's fun to buy lures. Man, the fish don't really care. Use that one and clean it up. I'm also going to show you some tips to clean up your rusty plastic boxes that you store these in. And this is pretty simple. Rust doesn't strongly adhere or bond to polyethylene, which is what most of these are. And even most of your fishing lures have some type of lacquer coat on them. And it doesn't bond very strongly to that either. It's not like on your boat, so your rust stains there. So you don't really need much. You also don't want to use a lot of harsh chemicals on your fishing lures, because once you start to introduce things like Clorox or some other acids into your tackle box, you're only going to accelerate rusting inside your tackle box unless you completely neutralize that tackle box. So I like to keep it simple. Really, honestly, Scotch-Brite pad, maybe a little bit of Dawn. Worst case scenario, a product called Zud. What happens with these tackle boxes mostly, when you can't get all the rust out of it, it's because the plastic itself is a little marred up from the hook points and things like that. So you sometimes need a scrubbing powder to get in there and scrub a little bit, and that's all it takes. Now, in the field, I usually keep a half of one of these Scotch-Brite pads in my wading tackle stuff, because sometimes, man, I find a lure, I'm like, man, that's a little rusty. It just kind of got away from me because I wade. And what I'll do is I'll just use the Scotch-Brite pad and just a little bit of saliva, honestly. Spit on it, man. Just spit on it. That's all you need. It's like I said, it's not like we're really breaking any real strong bonding effects of rust to polyethylene or lacquer. And the scouring effect of a Scotch-Brite pad is just enough to where it'll take that rust off. So you don't have to go overboard. What I like to do is I like to cut these Scotch-Brite pads in half. And for that, you don't want to use Mama's good scissors. She's going to kick your And so I got some utility scissors. You can also use, wing shears or something like that. And basically, you cut it in half. Oh my God. Groundbreaking. What's this junk? And that's all you need. So I'll keep one in my wade box, not in my wade box, but in my tackle bag that's in the boat. And the other one, I'm going to keep it around the garage or the shop, and have it with my other stuff that I'm going to use to clean lures and tackle boxes. So I'm going to flip the camera around and show you guys how to do this. It's super simple. I mean, this is low-hanging fruit kind of stuff, good beginner stuff. This isn't anything like, oh my God, he just showed how to clean a fishing lure. I'm going to go catch a 30-inch trout. Go catch me a dirty 30. Sorry, this isn't that. This is some simple stuff that'll help you save a few bucks. So let's flip the camera around and show you how to do it. It's pretty simple. All right, so I've got a lay and a little baby skitterwalk and a bone hologram, and he's beat up a little bit. So this isn't rocket science, guys. I'm going to put a small amount of Dawn in a little glass dish. You don't want to load up tons of this stuff because you're not using a lot of water volume either. And you want to make sure you get all this clean. And if you use Mama's dishes, then you want to use a glass container. The glass is not going to take the rust as bad as some of the other stuff you can use. So basically, I mean, you're just dipping the Scotch-Brite in there. You can see the little rusty spots on it. Look at that. That's all you need. It's gone. Brand new bait. You want to make sure that you clean right up next to, look at that, this is just coming off. It doesn't take much to get rust off of baits, guys. Like I said, chemically, the rust doesn't adhere or bond to it very strongly. And you want to make sure you clean right up next to those eyelets. Sometimes you'll have to do a little bit of extra work to get the Scotch-Brite right up into some of that stuff. Sometimes you might actually take the split rings off. Finding most of the time you can work around the split rings. I would definitely take off the hooks, of course. And don't mar up your eyes a whole bunch. Work right around the nose here. Super simple stuff. Alright, you're gonna go catch an 8-pounder after this quest for Dirty 30. Yeah, right. Man, you got some clean baits now. So you just saved you. Now these lele's, you know, they're getting kind of expensive. I'm not a huge fan of the lele, but man, I have a buddy of mine, Jim Garrett, loves the things, and he does well on them. He catches quite a few fish on them. So if they're worked right, they're good little baits. Every bait is a tool for making a good presentation, right? That's really what it comes down to. You know, that's pretty much it. So then it comes down to rinsing it. And don't use super hot water, but use a little bit of warmth and cold just to get that off of there. You do want to make sure that you get all of the detergent off of there. And that's it. It's good as new. So we're going to follow up and do the skitter walk. Like I said, get a little bit of detergent there. And it's not the detergent that's really doing the job. The detergent is only so that if I have any type of oils on there from either scents, or I don't use a whole lot of scents, but anything that might stop the cleaning action. Like I said, the rust doesn't really chemically bond very strongly to things like lacquer. And now this is not going to be able to clean the corrosion inside your skitter walks, but this little bait has some life left in it, you know, and you can always repaint it into something solid color as well. Some people don't like to reuse their skitter walks after they rusted. They say they sound different. Honestly, I think at that point we're looking a little too closely at the sound frequencies and things like that. And I guarantee you, and I have another buddy of mine who'll throw these skitter walks just for a long time and just rust on them, doesn't matter. And there's actually some scientific evidence that says that you know, the fish will only hear these lower frequencies anyways, and they're also feeling the vibration of that bait moving water, causing vibration waves by it rotating back and forth, side to side, walking the dog. Looks like I've got a little bit more damage right here. That may actually be internal. I believe it is actually internal. Yeah, that's internal. It's not on the outside. Because I can't really scratch that at all. That's something that's settled on the inside from this rust that's migrating from the back. Oh my God, that's ruined. I mean, you know what? The fish will still eat it. To a fish, it's just motion and movement. And they're like, oh my God, it's alive. It must be something I've never seen before with an orange nose. I think I'll eat it. They're not very, very smart, guys. They're fish. Do they learn a few things? Maybe get shy of a few things, maybe over time? Yeah, but not that often. So there you have it, guys. That's, you know, these baits are practically cleaned up perfectly. And it's not perfect, but you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect to catch a trout. So a little bit more work on this guy on this side. And, you know, some of your really pretty painted baits, you want to be careful how much you scrub them, because you can get through, you know, scrubbing through some of that lacquer and things like that to where you actually do, you know, rub some of the paint off. So scrub lightly. I wouldn't use anything more abrasive than these Scotch-Brite pads. If you start using sandpaper, that's where you're really going to cut through that lacquer coat really fast. And next thing you know, man, you're going to want to have to buy new baits. But look at that. That's practically brand new. So it's ready to go. Put a new set of hooks on it. Back in the box to be ready again to go catch some fish. Now, it's pretty similar with your polyethylene clear plastic trays as well. I'm using the same method. Worst case scenario with these guys is you might have to add a product called Zud, maybe even a little bit of Comet. The Comet, it's a little less strong. All right, guys, these plastic boxes, it's going to be quite a bit similar. I'm taking out these dividers here. I don't have dividers in this section. This is just a 3600 size plano. And it's pretty much the same thing. And you can actually hit this with just the, I'm going to hit this in one little area so you can just really see the difference right there. Okay, so it's pretty much that one little area that I just worked on right there. Look at the difference between those two. And that's what I'm saying. You don't have to really get into real strong chemicals with this. And you don't want to leave strong chemical residues in your tackle boxes. It's going to only promote more oxidation and rust anyways. So all I'm using is Scotch-Brite pad with a little bit of Dawn. And really just getting in there and using some elbow grease to clean up these boxes. If you have some that's a little more stubborn because of the pitting effect and of hooks and things like that, then you might use a product called Zud. You might use Comet. Both of those will be just enough of a scrubbing effect. You really don't need any rust neutralizers in this, like CLR or Clorox rust and lime. You really don't need that for this. You just need a little bit of elbow grease. So that way you're not introducing other chemicals and catalysts that are going to cause your tackle to rust faster. You really just want a nice, good, cleaned out little tackle tray. Okay, and just spin it around as you need it. Get a little more of your soapy water. It's also another good reason for the smaller sized Scotch-Brite pad, is you can get in here into these little compartments better than with the big size. You can also use a host of other brushes, or might even behoove you to have a toothbrush if you've got some of these slots that have a lot of rust in them, but mine don't. But hey, you know, if you fish inshore or saltwater, then you're going to come across some rusty hooks at some point, and you don't have to go buy new box trays, new tackle trays every time. Oh my God, I have a hook that's rusted. I need all new tackle. I better buy some custom fishing lures to, you know, maybe them custom lures won't rust, but you know what? Rust don't care. Rust don't care if it's custom painted or if it's Walmart brand. I don't buy a whole lot of stuff from Walmart. That stuff's not exactly high quality. But somewhere in the middle, get you a good quality fishing lure and put a good hook on it, a good sharp hook. And that's really it. That's pretty much it. We're going to rinse this guy out. Make sure that you get the lid. Rinse it at least 3 times. worked in a science lab when I was in college, and pretty much concluded that once you rinse something 3 times on a percentage basis, you've actually diluted the concentration sufficiently that there's not really a residue there. So there you go. Probably fogging up the camera, but really we're going to dry this out and let it dry, get it in the sun for a minute. Now that it's clean, you can put these baits back in it, store these until it's time to put some hooks on them. There you go. As far as fishing the Texas coast, these guys are as good as new and cleaned up, ready to put some hooks on them. Store them in here. The box is cleaned up. You don't have to go buy a new box. You don't have to go buy new lures. Get some new hooks and put new hooks on them, and then you're ready to go. Hope that tip has helped you. Maybe it'll save you a few bucks. I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, "Man, you didn't exactly wow me. I might not even like your video." I don't care. I'm here to help some guys, and maybe that will help. Also, that brings me to the whole tip is, everybody's all like and subscribe. You know what? I don't care. If this video helped you, share it with a friend. Most people don't log in to freaking YouTube anyways, unless you're watching it on the phone app, and then you're automatically logged in. But everybody else just watches it. So I don't really care if you like or subscribe. I'm not trying to get any kind of following from YouTube. But if you like this video, if you thought this was helpful and maybe saved you some tackle, then just share the link with a friend of yours. That's all I'm asking. Until next time, I'm going to try and put out some more kind of beginner, low-hanging fruit kind of stuff for you guys. And maybe at some point, you'll join our club.